Šta je uspjeh? I zašto ga toliko želimo?
I always want to be number one.
Da li u svima nama čuči potencijalni Steve Jobs?
I always want to achieve more and more and more.
Ili je to utopija u kojoj nas je ubijedila popularna kultura?
I was becoming something greedy and something self-centered that I didn't like.
Bilo kroz citate uspješnih ljudi, koje poput bedževa nosimo na reverima naših online života.
No matter what I do, I'll always survive in a way or another.
Ili posmatrajući priču o uspjehu.
I always had a hard time understanding the system.
Da li zaista nekim uspjeh dolazi olako, dok drugima vječno ostaje samo nadohvat ruke?
My name is Daniel Dorfen Norgard. I'm 27 years old, born and raised in Copenhagen.
My name is Anders Haag. I'm 29 now. I was born and raised in Denmark for the most part.
I was kind of like the quiet kid for the first 10 years of my life. I had a very strict mom who kept my nose in the books and my manners being very well behaved, but it shined through in sports. I was aggressive, tough, refusing to lose, hated to lose.
Younger version of myself was always very straightforward and always chasing the next thing. But at the same time, I also felt awkward or outsider or not like the rest of the group of guys that I actually wanted to be like.
I always had a hard time understanding the system, and you had to be in the system. You had to go through grade school, go to high school, pick an education, finish your education, get a job, work, and then 40 years later, you worked, you can retire and die. You know, that just didn't seem very appealing to me.
And I attended the first rehearsal and I fell in love completely, and since then I started dancing every day, every hour of every day. Dropped the Thai boxing and completely became engaged with modern dance and modern ballet.
I rolled into Copenhagen business schools, basic economics, first semester, and I remember it as terrible. And I realized, whoa, this is really, really difficult stuff. So I tried reading. It was so boring. Then I went to this lecture, and truth be told, I didn't understand much of what's going on because I thought I'd prepared, but clearly I didn't prepare nearly as much as any of the other students. Whoa, 5 years of this? Oh, there's got to be something else out there. This is not for me.
And finally I decided to create my own company and start as a sales consultant, doing the classical cold calling, telemarketing, selling everything.
By coincidence, I was reading the newspaper and I saw that they were applying for electricians at the technical university, and I was like, well, okay, the head thing didn't work very well. Let's try with the hands. I did it on the side in the evenings, worked for a big company from 7 to 3, and from 3 to 10 or 11 p.m. I worked on my own company, so I didn't have to borrow any money. I started in a banked up, shitty old car, only with a few tools, and made the money I could, put them in in my pocket, and waited till the day I was finished, so I was able to buy myself a decent car, a decent set of tools, and really start the company up when I had some more time, the day I graduated.
Earned a lot of money very, very fast. I made my first million, so to speak, when I was 22, even though I was an employee at the time. But it also made me a little reckless, maybe even naive. to the extent that I thought that I could take on the entire world without having the proper background or without having the right setup. So I engaged in quite a few activities which gave me a lot of learning lessons, but didn't really bring me to the success that I actually desired. Back in 2007, when sort of the so-called financial crisis and everything were widespread, I was forced to change career path.
The business developed in rapid speed. I was lucky, I caught a break with a big company in Denmark who hired me. So the company just kickstarted itself and it's been rising ever since.
I learned to let go, and I was becoming something greedy and something self-centered that I didn't like with the first 4 or 5 years of my sales career. Everything was focused on numbers, everything was focused on getting my commission, and I didn't really give a damn about who I was gonna push to buy more than they actually needed. I just needed my commission.
I've met Anders through mutual friends at a party 6 years ago.
We were lying in the park here in Copenhagen with our friends, and this guy came up on his very fancy bike and came and joined the crowd. And you just know when you meet somebody and they give you a handshake, and there's power in that handshake.
He was all over the place and he looked happy and looked like he was in control of himself. And I thought to myself, I like that guy. That guy is cool.
And after having been friends for years, we then decided that we had common goals and we wanted to work together.
So we were trawling through Alibaba.com, which is basically Chinese merchants selling from the cheapest crap to the most expensive jewelry, and we were looking for products. What haven't people seen? What do people want to buy?
We arrived at a point where we wanted to create something that was different and unique, but at the same time using the background that we already had and using the new technologies that were available that made this project look possible.
That was the branding. Now we have the product. How do we get people to buy it? How do we make this product unique? How do we make this ours?
We want to revolutionize how cosmetics are being used and perceived. Women use cosmetics every day of their lives for maybe 50, 60 years. And we believe that there are smarter ways and faster ways of creating better quality products with direct communication to your audience.
We bought samples from all over the world on all sorts of makeup. And we sat at my place with tons of samples and we started rating them, trying them out ourselves, having, it was ridiculous. Anders and I trying all sorts of makeups and looking like complete idiots. I am sure, it's hilarious, and rating them and trying our best to sort it out. And truth be told, we had no idea what we was doing. I can tell that now.
The lip gloss or the mascara or whatever is very common within the industry. I mean, color cosmetics, there's just so many features that you can color. The functional design part was already out there. But there are none of the companies existing at the moment. They are branding themselves on the functional design part. Working together with a prison that is such a polarity to the beauty industry was exactly because of that. What is the most opposite that we could think of?
We called them up and they were like, okay, you can swing by. So we set up a date, me and Anders going out to the car, all dressed up, laptop, phone, everything, driving out to a very scary prison outside Copenhagen, big gray walls everywhere. And first shock was like when we opened, like, yeah, leave your computer, leave everything. We are secured now. And the person working with the prisoners come and pick us up. And we actually walked through the prison yard with all these prisoners around us. It's like a bit scary, like, wow, what are we doing here?
Feeling that fear and that intimidation that it also is when you see such a lifeless building. I mean, it's the sole purpose of that construction is to contain evil, so to speak, and to go in there being just innocent entrepreneurs, trying to achieve greatness, trying to find uniqueness both for ourselves but also for the brand and product. Was very intimidating.
And then we enter a little shop where they do boxes, like completely surreal. Here we have these mean, rugged men creating small boxes for chocolate and metals and everything handcrafted. So we walk in, have a sit down, and tell them about our ideas. And then as we look around, we find, wow, this is cool. The contrast of this very girly lip gloss and this very, very rough environment, that's an excellent energy, those two combined.
And what we realized then is that this is people, regular people. They are not big tattooed monsters, bald and gonna kill you mean machine all the time. They're just regular people. And some of them, yes, are evil. Some of them happen to be in unfortunate circumstances and turned out really bad for them and others. But what really amazed me the most was that this is just another regular Joe.
Of course, it being handmade, it goes slow. It's not like you can pick up the phone and says, we just received an order, we're gonna need 1,000 for tomorrow. So it requires a bit of planning, but what doesn't? Quality requires planning.
It's really going fast. Yeah, we don't know at all. I have to say, of course, we'll do our best, but we can't promise if ever they have to make 1,000 a day, we can't, that's sure, because it's handmade. But we hope. We find, I said half an hour, but of course we find people doing just one little part and other people making another part. I don't know, I think we'll manage it. We'll try.
Determination is what it's all about. Keep believing, keep having the courage, keep pulling through. Like, get up every day and do your best, and eventually you will succeed, no matter what you do. Every time you overcome something, whatever it might be, you become stronger. So I hope that 50-year-old Daniel will have a lot of dents in his armor, but the armor will be thick.
Setting goals and not achieving them is also a part of the process, and accepting that failure is a very valuable lesson and a very important part of a future success, and giving up is not an option.
Don't try to fit in, find your own box.
My name is Kasper Blom. I grew up in Tostrup, and today I'm living 50% of my time in Jutland in Viborg, where my warehouse is, and 50% of the time at my mom's house in Tostrup. My mom always tells me that when I was a little kid, I loved to play a merchant. I loved to sell stuff and buy stuff and play with my mom. So I think it was a desire from when I was a little boy to create something big, to create a company, to be the boss of something great, and to build it on my own. Last few years of the border school and the first years of middle school that I realized that it wasn't meant for me to go through the normal school system. And I didn't like to go to school. I liked it because I had a lot of good friends and it was like a social network kind of thing. But all the school stuff, I hated it. I hated doing homework and all that stuff. When I was around 10 years old, I liked buying stuff on eBay and all that stuff, buying it home and selling it to my friends. It could be all different kinds of laser pointers, some toys, some guns, plastic guns, whatever. And when I was around 12 years old, my granddad came to me and said that I should consider selling used golf balls, also called lake balls. And I didn't know anything about golf balls, so I think, okay, let me give it a try. So I remember I had like 300 Danish kroner in my spargris, like in my savings. And then I used those 300 kroner for buying some golf balls. I found a man in Jutland who were living of diving down to the lakes and pulling up the golf balls. So they were really dirty and all that stuff, but I got them home, 300 golf balls for 300 kroner. And I started washing, and then I sold them again to my granddad and all his golf buddies. Because I bought them for 1 kroner and sold them for 2 kroner. Pretty easy, pretty simple. And then I had like 600 kroner, and then I think, okay, let me try to buy 600 golf balls. Then I did that. So it took a lot of years for me to build up my first capital to do this, because I was under 18, so I couldn't do it in my personal name. I had to do it like a special company, which required 125,000 in capital. That was like the breakthrough for me. I started getting a lot of orders from people from all over Denmark, and then it really took off. So a year after I launched my first website, then I had the first million in revenue. Between my 16 and 17 years, when I had this website and I started getting orders every day. Normally I had maybe 1 or 3 orders a week, but then I started getting 1 order every day, and then 3 orders every day, 5 orders every day. Then I realized that my time was much better spent at the computer doing online stuff, online marketing, than standing in the garage and packing all those golf balls. At the moment, I had it all at my mom's house. So actually, my first employee was my mom. So I hired my mom to do all that packing stuff, because actually I started hating it a bit. I think when I started getting this big revenue from the cheap golf balls, then it started realizing for me that at some point, the market in Denmark couldn't be bigger for cheap golf balls. It's impossible to sell golf balls who doesn't play golf. So there's like a maximum limit at some point. So I started realizing that if I wanted to like expand my companies, then I had to invest in some other stuff. So I took all the monies from the golf balls and started investing in some different markets. Because my big goal was always to achieve this, to have a revenue on 1 million. When I had this, I felt like I was goalless. I needed a new goal. Then I set a new goal that I needed this big car I always dreamed about. But when I had that, I realized that it wasn't really about having a big car or a new watch. It was my companies expanding that I really was interested about. I always want to be number one. I always want to achieve more and more and more. And I think it's healthy in some way, but also a bit unhealthy to always strive for more. You could say the unhealthy part is that it can be really stressful, always to strive for some more success. But the healthy part is that I can never get enough. I will never just lay back, even though when I become, like when I'm having 100 millions in my bank account, then I'm not finished yet. Then I just want to be a billionaire. So I'm always striving for more. And I think everyone should do that. From my point of view, I think everybody can be successful. It's only a matter of hard work. So I think everybody can build a successful company. It's about prioritizing. Do they want to stop watching television? When I was 17 years old, I threw my television out of the window. Because I realized that I was spending 1 or 2 hours every day watching television, but my company didn't get any bigger. So for the 4 years, I haven't watched any television at all. I think the biggest part of the motivation and the drive has to be that you want to build something, you want to achieve something personal. You want to have fun every day at work. If you go to work every day and just doing it for the money, then it won't be the big success.
My name is Andreas van der Heide. I'm 23 years old and I'm from Elsinore. The feeling that I wake up every morning having summer birds in my stomach because I can't wait to get to work. I'll sit here on Friday. I sat here until 2 o'clock in the morning because I can't stop. It's the drive, it's my life, and I absolutely love it. It all started in 2009, where I met up with one of my friends. He was wearing this really cool t-shirt, which I meant I could sell all over Denmark. So I asked him where it was from, and he told me he made it himself. He had bought some patches from England, military patches, and he had sewn them on himself. So we sat down, I said we should make a company, because I always wanted to build my own company. And he was really interested. So we found a distributor from India, and we sent them the t-shirt, and they produced 500 t-shirts. We didn't even have one customer. So we just, after 1 year, we just stood with 500 t-shirts to sell, and it was one color, one style. So there was no way back, there was no point of return. The first customers was our friends, and our friends' friends. And then my partner and I went throughout Denmark in a little car, going into all these little shops to sell these 500 t-shirts. And literally, we were kicked out of every shop we went into. We had, in the end of the trip, we had one store in Elsinore, where I was from. I knew the owner. And then we had one in Aarhus, in the opposite side in Jutland. And that was it. So they've bought like 20 t-shirts. So we still had maybe 400 t-shirts left. When we sold the 500 t-shirts, we could afford a new production where we had one t-shirt and one sweatshirt. So we produced a really, really cool sweatshirt. And again, when we had them delivered, we took, I think, 10 of the sweatshirts out of the collection, and we shipped them off to celebrities here in Denmark. And this is where the whole story starts. Then my family called me and said, you know, Remy, which is a songwriter, is famous in the whole world. He's wearing your sweatshirt. We sold 200 sweatshirts in one day. We had 3 new shops. So he was like our kickoff to the next step. After 2 years, our production is on time. So our agents can sell on time, can go to the right fashion fairs. So it's constantly changing. And that's the pretty thing about having your own business. What drives me is that I like the part where you're in self-control. I can choose which salary I can get every month, because if I do good, I get a high salary. If I don't, I won't get anything. And then I'm the type of person who doesn't like to be under somebody else that can yell and say what I have to do. I've been working hard ever since we started this, and ever since I wanted to create my own business. What makes it worth it is my freedom, and that I've built something that I'm really, really proud of, and that I have shown the world that I could do it. I can do whatever I want. I'm a human being, of course I have doubts in myself. I can wake up a morning fearing that all this will end, but then again, I would start something new, because I'm the survivor type. Yes, of course, sometimes I have doubt in myself, but I've proved so many times that no matter what I do, I'll always survive in a way or another. So my doubt is there, and I think it has to be there, but I'm not afraid of my doubts. What we've been struggling with is the cash flow and the investment in the company, because we didn't have a lot of money in the beginning, and I wouldn't start a business again without a certainty of capital. So that's definitely the biggest problem that we have had. Even if it hurts, even if you lose some money, even if your business is going down, in the end it's the strongest who will survive. And every time you feel the pain, you will get out stronger. But working in the fashion industry is like working with car traders. You never know what you got. Sometimes you go with people who is really good, and they will perform right away. And sometimes you go with people who can do their work as they promised. So have the right team would be my advice here. And when you build a company, you will always have these problems running into your head constantly. It's just how you manage to get around them, get over them, and learn from your mistakes.
The taxes in Denmark are very high, so you're gonna have to have a lot of guns too to start your own thing, because it takes a lot of guns and you have to really believe in your project, and I think that's just too much for me. I would like to have a long career. I would like to make a lot of money. So I think I want to study some law school, and I want to be a lawyer when I get older.
I like technical school. A short career, I want to get out on the work market as fast as I can.
So that means no university for you?
No,
Why?
I don't know. I like the technical school more than the university right now.
Would you like to have your own company one day?
I have my plans, and maybe in the future.